Hey, what's up guys, it's Nick2. Today I'm going to be showing you guys what is probably the best build in all of Season 7 for Diablo 4, which is the Bloodwave Necromancer. You guys have probably seen this. It's absolutely insane. I swapped over to it yesterday, and literally within 30 minutes, I was hitting for billions. Within a couple hours, I was hitting for hundreds of billions, and that was with an extremely suboptimal setup. Not really min-max very well at all, pretty bad gear, instantly capable of like one-shotting tormented bosses. This might be the most overpowered that a build has ever been. Obviously, we had Spiritborn last season, but at least with Spiritborn, you had to kind of set it up properly, and in order to get the damage to be really insane. This build, you literally just slap it together, and it just works. So I figured I'd just make a video to show you guys how to do that. And then later down the line, I'll make a really min-max version of the build. I'm also interested in making Bone Spear, because I think that would be a little bit more fun, and the damage potential of that is probably still pretty high, good enough to do very high tiers of the pit, but like I'm only Paragon 175, I've already done a pit 100, it was a complete joke to be honest with you, and my gear, etc. is very, very far from min-max, so I'm just going to show you guys how you can put this on and pretty much instantly just annihilate the entire game. So let's go over some of the build basics. The first thing that you need for this to actually work is the Keseme's Legacy. This item drops off of Lord Zir. You might be able to gamble for it at the Purveyor of Curiosities. Not entirely sure. You pretty much need this because it is going to enable a lot of stuff. It gives you Fortify when you cast your Blood Wave. It gives you Blood Wave cooldown reduction, chance for Blood Wave to deal extra damage, and then also makes Blood Wave do more damage multiplicatively with the legendary effect. You can basically just read this as, oh, it just makes my Blood Wave do way more damage. So I would wait to swap to this build until you get these. Pretty easy to get. Until then, I'd recommend following my Season 7 Necro Minion build. You can use this for leveling. I used it for leveling and got up to Torment 4 with it. Just use it for leveling and then like early into the end game as well. Outside of this item, there isn't really anything that's preventing you from swapping to this build. You just need to slap on all of the legendary aspects, which I am going to show you guys how to do. Currently I have Harlequin on, but actually I'm going to get all the gameplay without Harlequin, and it's completely unnecessary. I just happened to get one last night, which is a slight improvement for the build, but or a pretty significant improvement to be honest, but all the gameplay is without it, because I know people get mad if you have an Uber Unique, even though you can get them now in like literally 10 hours of playtime or whatever. We use Tidal Wave on a two-hander to make our Blood Wave do 480% damage, which is pretty insane. And then one of the ways that we're able to actually get our Blood Wave back is with the Fast Blood aspect. You can get this from Iron Hold in the Codex of Power, or you can just hopefully loot one. But basically, Blood Orbs reduce your ultimate skill cooldown. So this enables us to just spam our Blood Wave all the time, as long as we have a little bit of ultimate cooldown reduction on our gear, namely through Tempers on Rings and Amulets. And then because of the Blood Wave actual default mechanic here, where Blood Wave leaves behind 6 Blood Orbs, basically I cast my Blood Wave, you can see it's on cooldown, and then if I just run into these orbs, boom, I have it back immediately. This pairs perfectly with the Rathma's Vigor Keystone, where after being healthy for 15 seconds, your next blood skill is going to guaranteed overpower, but this timer is reduced by 2 seconds each time you pick up a blood orb that heals you. This also happens to give us a 1.2x multiplier on our overpower damage, which is pretty insane. So pretty much all we have to do is cast our Blood Wave, run into all of the little blood orbs here, and then our next Blood Wave is already back, and it is a guaranteed overpower, and that's pretty much the basics of the build. I'm going to mute game audio so you don't have to hear this idiot hitting all the mobs over and over again. That's pretty much all you need to know in order to get the build actually rolling, and then everything else that we use is simply to just make the build better. When it comes to skills, I'll just go over the skill tree really quick. It's pretty simple. I use Reap for the guaranteed corpse spawn, so that when I run up to mobs, I can pop the Reap down and instantly get a corpse to then corpse central them, which is very nice because the Blood Wave doesn't have a huge radius, so it's nice to kind of suck all the mobs in, you know, suck all the dudes. We're big fans of sucking the dudes, so that's pretty good. And then we go into Blight. Also, the benefit of Reap is it counts as a darkness skill, which scales Reaper's Pursuit, so we just get more damage and more move speed. Blight pretty much only use this on bosses, just so I do 20% increased damage to them, and it counts as a darkness skill. I have 1 point to Hued Flesh, just for the lucky chance to spawn corpses, because corpses is decent on bosses. Blood Mist with Dreadful, so we get increased crit chance and crit damage. Some points into Necrotic Fortitude. I'm pretty sure this is useless, we just get a little bit of a barrier, but I have 12k HP right now, nothing does any damage to me, so this is more defensive, might swap out of it and go into Corpse Explosion Blighted and just put that on my bar so I get even more move speed and more darkness damage, in which case I could take Decrepify off my bar. Decrepify we put points into because we use the Cursed Aura aspect, so we just permanently have a curse around us, so we're making the mobs take, or they are dealing less damage to us, and we have a chance to reduce our cooldowns, which is pretty nice. And then just some generic damage related stuff here: move speed, damage, amplified damage for more damage enemies that are cursed. Fueled by death is just damage after consuming a corpse. And then I have plagued corpse tendrils, so it just makes the enemies vulnerable. Alternatively, you can go blighted. These are like both kind of just quality of life options. We have vulnerable via a witch power, so we don't really need it through the corpse tendril, but we also get blood orbs with our ultimate, so it's kind of whatever you want. Tides of Blood is just more damage. Coalesce Blood, more damage. Reaper's Pursuit, more damage. Gloom, more damage. Terror, more damage. You're always applying slow via Decrepify, so you just always get this bonus here. And then we have Blood Wave here. One of the nice things about Blood Wave is that its damage is increased multiplicatively by your damage while healthy and damage while fortified. So we scale those heavily. Currently I have a 364 multi on that. And my Blood Wave tooltip is just 2.7 mil. And this is with a very entry level version of the build. We also get 20% DR perma, and of course the blood orbs. Finality is just extra damage after casting an ult, so we have that up all the time. 18% DR, and then increased benefit of the skeletal warriors and skeletal mages that are sacrificed. And then of course we have the Rathma's Vigor. When it comes to sacrifices, what I have here is currently, because my resistances aren't great and my gear is not like perfect, I have the gain 25% all res here, so that just helps me reach my res caps. Otherwise, you would probably want to go into 20% increased shadow damage, but if you're missing some crit chance, you would go into the crit chance. For the mages, you pretty much always just go 30% increased overpower damage, and then for golems, you go 35% increased crit damage. If you want some survivability, you can go max life, and because we are permanently overpowering, max life actually is extra damage multiplier for us, so we go into a whole bunch of max life on our gear. So this is also good because it would give you some damage and survivability at the same time, but ultimately crit damage is just going to be more damage for you once the build is kind of set up pretty well. Let's go over aspects real quick. So on our amulet, we go with Apogeic Furor. This is just anytime you cast an ult, it increases your damage. I'm not a huge fan of this, but it is just a massive multiplier. The reason I don't like it is that when it gets it gives you more damage based on how many stacks you have. And once you're at 10 stacks, it completely resets the bonus on it. So then you go back to just 13%. So, I mean, like on average, you're going to be around 5 stacks. Like it mass out to be on average 5 stacks, right? And that's like 70% damage or whatever. So it is really good. I just generally in these kinds of games, I like to have something that's just active all the time. So for example, like Vehement is just 30% damage all the time, and it gives you 2 ultimate skill ranks all the time, and ultimate skill ranks reduces the cooldown on the blood wave, and it just makes its damage higher. So I prefer something like this, but it's just such a high multiplier that it's worth putting it here, and it's nice to sometimes get those really big hits, right? Alternatively, you could put Fast Blood on your amulet until you get a good roll. I got super lucky and got a max roll like as one of my first items when I got into T Torment 3 or something. Very lucky there. I would say put Fast Blood on your amulet until you get a roll that's about 2 to 2.5, and then you can move it to a ring or whatever other piece, and then that's good. Gloves, I have Ultimate Shadow. This is just to make Blood Wave count as a darkness skill so that we get a lot of the darkness scaling here. So you can see it counts as darkness, so it gives us 6% damage and the move speed, and then when I damage enemies with darkness skills, they take increased damage. And then also Terror here. This is only shadow damage. I don't think Blood Wave does a ton of shadow damage, so maybe this isn't super worth, but this one, I guess these are both shadow damage. We do a little bit of shadow damage with Blood Wave, so it isn't like completely wasted, but you could alternatively, other than this one, there's some other shadow damage scalers that we have, so it's not too bad to use this, but early into the build, you could probably use Grasping Veins, and that's what I'll probably recommend because our crit chance is really low, so just having permanently good crit chance helps out a lot, so we're always critting. Eventually, you solve that crit chance with witch powers and just having like better quality of gear. Other legendary aspects, I already mentioned Tidal on the two-hander. That's a no-brainer. Decrepify, permanently aura. Customized Legacy is very nice. And then we have Blood Mist, just triggers Corpse Explosion. This is just so that we can Blood Mist all the time. It just reduces the cooldown on it. And also it triggering Corpse Explosion works for our Fueled by Death, which I have right here, which is a 40% damage multi. It's helpful here and there. Not insane. Eventually, you do swap this out for a Shroud of False Death Uber Unique. And with the helmet, I have Hardened Bones, just 24% DR. You could also go, if you feel like you're very tanky, you could go for deal extra damage to dazed enemies if you just want more DPS. Ideally, you would swap this out for Air of Perdition or Harlequin Crest. I like the idea of Harlequin Crest because it helps with your armor caps, and it gives you a lot of CDR, so you can spam the Blood Wave more often, and it gives you more HP and 4 skill ranks, so then your cooldown on my Blood Wave goes from 19.9 to 12 seconds, so that's pretty insane. You can see I only have to pick up 2 Blood Orbs, and then I instantly have my ult back, which is pretty insane, but you pretty much need to pick up the Blood Orbs anyways, because if you don't, you're not going to get the guaranteed overpower on your next use, so neither here nor there. That's pretty good, but Arrow of Perdition is technically more damage overall because it gives you a lot of crit and just straight up 60% damage, while plus 4 ranks is more on the range of like 50% damage or so. When it comes to stats on gear, you would like to try to get greater affix of max HP or intelligence on almost every single piece. Some pieces it's better to get a little bit of other stuff. Obviously, when you're in Tournament 4, try to reach the armor cap of 1,000 and try to reach your resistance caps. It's not too hard. Just get like, royal diamonds in your gear, and then in the Paragon board, we get a lot of all res. And then if you're getting a lot of intelligence and putting topazes in your gear, you'll reach all res cap pretty easily. Until you have pretty good gear, just do what I'm doing, or you're higher level, so you have more Paragon points. Just put in the Skeletal Warrior thing here, and that helps out a lot. And then you just get like 1 or 2 armor rolls on your gear, percent armor as some tempers, and then you're good. My chest is pretty bad. Ideally, this would be greater affix, int, and max HP, and then you, on utility tempers, do Corpse Central on most pieces, chest, max HP, int, and I'd probably go armor or all res, and then ideally the temper would be either armor, max HP, or Corpse Central size / curse size. I really need a new chest. Gloves, you want to get intelligence, max HP, and crit chance, and ideally the crit chance would be greater affix. And then for damage tempers, everywhere, we want damage while fortified, because again, that is a multiplicative scalar for Blood Wave. And then just Corpse Central size for the utility temper there. Customized Legacy, ideally you want the greater affix to land on Transferred Blood Wave to deal double damage. And then every time that we use this, it's going to guarantee Fortify us, so we have all this DR from Fortify. And then we get extra DR here, and we get the damage while fortified as both additive and multiplicative scaling. Try to get as high of a roll as possible on this bottom effect here, obviously up to 300%. That's what you want to aim for. But getting greater affix on Transferred Blood Wave to deal double damage would be very nice. Boots, go for max HP, intelligence, and then move speed. You could also opt for armor or resist if that's giving you trouble. Temper move speed, and then temper Corpse Central size. Weapon, you want it to be either a scythe or a hammer, ideally a hammer because it has overpower damage, but you don't want it to be a sword because a sword is a 1.0 attack speed. We want it to be a 0.9 attack speed because the damage that we deal is based on the attack speed here, and we don't need attack speed with this build because we're just using the Blood Wave here and there. Stats that we want on this would be intelligence, max HP, and then overpower damage, ideally, temper, damage while fortified, and then get Transferred Blood Wave to deal double damage. Rings, we want intelligence, max HP, crit chance, ideally get greater affix of crit chance, damage while fortified, and then ultimate cooldown reduction temper on both the rings. Basically want them to be the same. Amulet, there's a lot of good stuff you can get. Ideally, greater affix intelligence is very good. I'm quite happy with this one I got early. It gives me armor, so I can reach my armor cap pretty easily there. Alternative to armor, you can just get a lot of damage related stuff. I have amplified damage that I re-rolled on, so just few extra percentage points of damage. This is pretty good. You could also get Tides of Blood. This is technically the best one because each point is 10% increased damage. So if you got 3 points, that'd be 30%, and then greater affix it, of course, that would be pretty good. Would be better than amp damage, but next to that, Coalesce Blood is also pretty good. And if you're early into the build, crit chance is good as well, so we can reach our crit cap. When it comes to runes, there's quite a lot of good ones. I'm just going to go over some early game ones because some of the later ones take a little bit to get. One of the best ones you can get, though, is Quacks, I think it's called. Your next, I believe I have one here. Yeah, this one. Quacks, or Quacks, who knows. Your next non-basic skill cast spends all your primary resource to deal up to 100% increased damage. So, every like 1 or 2 casts you'll get double damage. I found this to work very well with Igni, which stores offering, and every time you cast a non-basic skill, it's going to give you that extra damage. So you can see that this one is right here, and if I just cast one Blood Wave, it's going to instantly proc it, so then my next Blood Wave will have the extra benefit, and it works pretty well with Blood Wave because you're not casting like crazy. The next one I have, which is really good early game, is Gar. It gives you, I believe I have one here. Here it is. Gives you increased crit chance, and it has a very low offering requirement, so you can pair it with anything that grants offering. The best offering gain for us is Zan, just gives us ultimate skill, or cast an ultimate skill, gives you offering. That instantly gives you 25 crit chance with Gar, which is super good early because we don't have a lot of crit. Seer is decent for offering gain, but not great. Alternatively to the ones that I mentioned, if you just want more defense, slash damage, Zal is pretty decent, and Ma is good for defense as well. I'll have the technical best ones in the build description down below, but this is like an early endgame version you can just swap into, and you don't have to have crazy runes. Like, these are literally blue runes, right? We'll go into the Paragon board. Mine is not maxed out yet, so I'm going to get way more res, which will be pretty nice, and more armor, so I don't have to use my Skeletal Warriors pretty soon. But on the first board, I just go for Dominate, increase overpower damage. There's a few willpower nodes here, but we have a lot of additive that we don't really need to spec into all of it. We'd rather just get all the HP in the world, all the resist in the world. HP is damage for us, so that's nice. Next board, I went for Bloodbath instantly for just increased damage. Very good. 100% multi plus 25% multi. That's crazy. Get a lot of DR, all res, max HP, and damage while fortified is very important. And then I have Abyssal in this glyph so that I get the damage while fortified is multiplied, which is a multiplicative increase for us. And we get intelligence, and we get overpower damage, and this gives us increased non-phys damage. This is really good. Next board, I went into Blood Begets Blood. Anytime we pick up Blood Orbs, increased damage. We're always picking up Blood Orbs, max HP stuff, Blood Orb, max HP, damage while healthy stuff, pretty nice. And I'll get these bonuses once I get a little bit more willpower, so just more levels. And then we got Amplify in here to buff up the damage while healthy nodes that I have here, these blue ones. And, pretty good. Enemies afflicted by curse take increased damage. We have Decrepify on us all the time, so that's permanent damage increase. And then the next one I went for was Flesh Eater. This is not up all the time, so I'm not a massive fan of it, but it's still decent. Just some all-res, max HP, and then I slapped in Control. We permanently have access to this because Decrepify counts as a crowd control. It slows the mobs, so it's good for mapping, but for bossing it does not help. So you could swap it out to something else like Exploit maybe. Last board I'm going to go into is Frailty. I'd probably rather go Frailty first than Flesh Eater, to be honest, because it's active more often. Just increased damage to enemies that are cursed, and we have both Iron Maiden and Decrepify, so that's up all the time. Lots of all-res in here, and then we got max HP, some attack speed stuff, pretty decent vuln damage, damage crowd control, whatever. We don't care that much about that. I'd probably put an Exploit, or maybe I'd go Essence. Essence would help with one-shotting, but you don't really one-shot mobs. You kind of hit them with multiple hits, so yeah, Exploit or Sacrificial would probably be the best option there, and I just book it to the glyph slot and then get all the resistance and stuff. That's pretty much it for that. I'll do a little gameplay showcase, but first I want to go over the witch powers. Some of the witch powers are a huge pain in the ass to unlock, so I'm only going to show the early ones, and in the later version of the skill tree, I'll have the more endgame related ones, so you guys can see that. But for now, I'll just show you what I have on. Go here. So there is one that gives you crit chance. I don't have access to that. That will be crazy helpful for reaching our crit cap, so we can drop some crit here and there. Opportunity cost sort of stuff. For the unique one, I have the Doom Orb, which is, I believe, is this dude. Not Doom Orb, Witch Spirit Servant. It's just helpful for defense. I believe later we want to go Piranado. I don't think it really matters that much. Cycle's okay too, but don't worry about the unique one. I went Hex of Flame because it is an Eldritch power, and I paired it with Shaken Soul just so that we permanently have Vulnerable. I tried a different Eldritch power. I don't remember. I think it was Hex of Whispers or something. Or no, Wave of Woe. I tried Wave of Woe paired with Shaken Soul for the Vulnerable, and it just didn't apply Vulnerable, or the waves just didn't happen. Maybe I'm stupid, but Hex of Flame, it just makes the mobs permanently vulnerable pretty much, so very good for bossing and just generally playing. Force of Will is crazy. I haven't even uploaded? What am I saying? I haven't upgraded mine. Just give you way more overpower damage based on how many mobs you kill. So this is pretty crazy. Maxing this out would be huge value for me right now. Aura of Siphoning is okay because it just gives you a little bit of healing and just permanently have an aura around you. And then Shaken Soul, of course, for the vulnerable. And then Soul Harvest is one that you really want to max out whenever you use a cooldown. So your Blood Wave or literally anything else. It gives you more primary stat, and intelligence is just more damage for us. So upgrading this will be pretty nice. I believe it'll stack as well, so you can get infinite duration on that, which will be pretty good. Outside of that, I need to test if Aura of Specialization is additive crit damage or multiplicative. It says plus, so if it's additive, it's completely useless. It does gain Aura increased size, but I don't think we really need that. Otherwise, Hex Specialization is very good. I don't have it unlocked, but if I did, I would put this in, probably in place of Aura of Siphoning, most likely, because 20% crit is very nice. We don't care about attack speed or lucky hit, so that's not very good. Damage over time stuff is useless. I keep buying this one and it doesn't let me put it on. I think it's like bugged or something. I bought this thing like 10 times and then it goes here and it doesn't go here and I can't put it on. So I don't know what's going on there. This is decent to make enemies deal less damage. We're not hitting head rottens often, so the guaranteed crit part of it is pretty useless. This is pretty good, just 10% DR, and also gives you some movement speed, which isn't too bad now if you got it to rank 5. That's pretty much it for the witch powers. Now I'm just going to go do a pit. I don't know, what level should we do? I guess we can do a pit 100. I don't know. The pit 100s are definitely like slower, but you know, everything will just get completely one tap once I have a little bit better gear. When it comes to some consumable related stuff, I haven't really been paying much attention. I've been using an intelligence thing and then a HP. Where is it? I guess I don't have one. I'll probably go with a crit one because my crit is not particularly insane right now. But usually I've been just going 20% HP, but I would like a little bit of crit. So I'll try that out. And keep in mind, if your armor or your resistances are kind of bricked, you can use incenses to give yourself 10% max all res or a little bit of armor as well. But I'll just go into the gameplay, do a little bit of a pit here, and show you guys how it goes. With better gear, like you could literally be doing 100 times more damage than I'm doing right now, I'm pretty sure. Because my gear isn't anything insane, right? And, you know, it's very early into the league and the build. I just want to show you guys, this is what the build looks like, and you can set it up super easily. So normally what I do is I kind of just try to group up a pretty large pack of mobs here, and then I hit them with a Reap, I Corpse Tendril, I go into Blood Mist, and then I press my Blood Wave, and then I pretty much can just spam the Blood Wave over and over and over again. And yeah, I guess I've gotten a little bit of a damage increase since I've last done a Pit 100, because everything basically gets one-shotted. You can alternatively just run around in the map. Like, that guy's randomly doing damage. I almost never take damage. That's crazy. You can kind of just run around in the map and spam your Blood Wave, but it's a little slow because you need to make sure to pick up the blood orbs. That's kind of why I want to eventually swap to like Bone Spear or something, because I think I'll be able to clear faster. And when you do like infinite damage, having more damage doesn't like really help you. I'd rather just be able to clear faster, right? On big packs like this, you can drop a Blight in the middle. Sometimes damage reduction mobs are like the bane of your existence on this build, because that guy was behind the corner and I literally couldn't hit him. The sphere crap is super annoying as well, but I mean, it's pretty simple to play. Like I was trying to say, you can just run around and just, oh, Blood Wave, collect the orbs, Blood Wave, collect the orbs, and like play pretty brain dead. You don't have to like walk in, Reap, Blood Mist, Pixel Pull, Corpse Tendril, Vulnerable, Blight, damage increase. Like you don't have to do all kinds of crazy stuff. You can play it pretty brain dead if you want. But yeah, I would make sure to spam your health potion quite regularly, or try to remain above full HP. If you ever notice that you're not doing any damage or you're not overpowering, it's because you are either not healthy or you did not run into enough blood orbs. Surprisingly, these mobs are randomly doing damage to me. This is like the first time I've literally ever taken damage. Might be because I swapped my witch powers around a little bit, but also I usually run around with the HP flask, so maybe I'll just do that, see if I notice a difference. At this point, like the damage is so high. I haven't done a 100 in a little bit. I kind of spent some time farming last night. Oh, I have been running around with Shaco a lot of the time too, but don't got the Shaco on right now. As you can see though, damage is real nice. Did I get a portal? Am I stupid? I'm just paying attention to yapping like a psycho, so I probably got a portal. Let me go run there. I want to have a little bit more move speed, so I might add Corpse Tendril to the bar, just so I got a little bit more move speed here, because you don't need to Crepify on the bar, it doesn't do anything, and I can just swap some points out, so I'll just add Corpse Tendril there. It's not really that big of a deal. People are going to freak out about it. The build on the website is different than the build that you have in the video. I'm going to have an aneurysm. It's okay, guys. I swear you'll be okay. All right. Not my fastest run. Definitely, potentially my slowest run. But no, I mean, the Pit 100, you don't really need to do any higher than this. So the fact that you can do this literally day one with like crap gear is kind of ridiculous. And that's why I think it's probably the most overpowered any build has ever been. I literally put the build on and instantly did 1,000,000,000 damage. I had 0 damage while fortified on my character. I had a fast blood aspect in my amulet. I had no aspect in my other gear. Like, it's completely ridiculous, right? The damage numbers that you're going to see are going to vary greatly because there's so many different versions of like conditional damage. You have the witch power damage. You have the I do more damage when enemies are vulnerable, overpower. You have the apogeic furor aspect. Like, there's 5 different things that are cycling around how much damage you're going to potentially do. So sometimes you'll see trillions, sometimes you'll see 10 billion, right? It kind of depends. I think the highest I've gotten so far is like 500 billion, but I don't really know. There's so many numbers on the screen, kind of hard to tell sometimes. And you can see that not all of my numbers are orange, and that's because my crit is pretty low. So as we get higher crit, then the build will also just guarantee overpower all the time. And also your damage is based on how much life you have. So right there I did less damage because I was not full HP. But yeah, pretty chill, pretty easy to play. Oh, I did not pick up my blood orbs there, so my ult is not ready yet. So let me go get those. There we go. Yeah. I definitely prefer like a bone spear playstyle to this build, but I mean, if you just want to be the most overpowered thing ever, you want to one-shot bosses with very low investment, you want to just grind out like really high levels and swap to something else, this is definitely the build to do it. Sometimes mobs, like in this scenario, they get like stuck on like a little ledge thing, and that can be kind of annoying. Blood waves have a hard time hitting them in that scenario, but not that big of a deal. Reap also gives you damage reduction, so using it regularly if you feel like you're having any sort of defensive issues is pretty nice. Honestly, the first time I've literally ever taken damage while playing this build was in this video. Usually my health looks like what it looks like right now, or it's just permanently full. So that should probably be your guys' experience as well. Try to just get like a lot of HP on your gear. When it comes to bosses, I Blight, Reap, Corpse Tendril, Blood Mist for the extra crit, and then Blood Wave, and then Blood Wave. And then Blood Wave, Corpse Tendril again, Blight again, Blood Wave. You can see my damage is not anything insane right now, but this is at pit 100. The tormented bosses have like literally 1/10 this guy's HP. I don't think that one overpowered. Blood Wave, insane. I'm very skilled, and yeah. That is a pit 100 with pretty bad gear. And level 176 Paragon. I think Wudiho is like level 215 Paragon or something. Obviously, if you had way more Paragon points, all the glyphs were leveled. Like my glyphs are, not very leveled up. I've never had this happen where I can't. Let me show you guys. I can't get this because I don't have enough topaz fragments. Why? What? Why can't I get this? Anyway, I'm trying to get this to 46 for my extra damage. Anyways, that is pretty much it for the build, and I'll be uploading an updated version of this once I have a little bit better gear. Let me know if there's any other builds that you guys would like to see. Based on like comments and stuff, I'll reroll another character. I really want to make Bone Spear, so I'll probably make that pretty soon. I didn't even have this socketed. And I do have the Harlequin, which is pretty nice. You can see my damage on Blood Wave goes from, let's see here, from 3.7 mil to 4.3 mil by adding the Harlequin. So that is pretty nice. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you guys later. I will make the build better and have a more min-max version for you guys posted probably in the upcoming couple days. I'm not going to go crazy min-maxing this build because it already is so unbelievably disgusting. I don't think there's really a reason to go above pit 150 other than to just show, hey, you can do this damage, but it's kind of unnecessary. So I'm just going to get it to have pretty good damage. It already does, but just going to min-max it a little bit for like a day or two, get probably like into the trillion damage range. That's at least the goal. And then I'll swap over to some other stuff. So let me know what other stuff you guys would like to see. Thanks for watching. See ya. I'll stop yapping. Bye-bye. Have a good day.